Ahrens' name is synonymous with propane industry leadership. Certainly at the state level, as executive director of the Missouri Propane Gas Association, and more recently the Arkansas Propane Gas Association, his work and creative ideas have served not only as a model for the states, but for those making decisions nationally. Ahrens once shared with LP Gas, "You have to bring value every day, but especially when it's needed and necessary." Tonight, Steve Ahrens, leader, collaborator, and outspoken voice for the industry for nearly 25 years, becomes the second state executive to join the LP Gas Hall of Fame.
Steve Ahrens didn't dream of a career in the propane industry. He thought he'd enjoy covering life's ins and outs as a small-town newspaperman. But life offered another path, one that revealed opportunities to demonstrate his natural commitment to excellence, intuition for the logical next step, affinity for building consensus, and ability to problem solve. The longtime executive of the Missouri Propane Gas Association and, since June of 2022, head of its counterpart in Arkansas, started his career at the Marshfield Mail, a weekly publication serving the Webster County seat, 2 hours south of Missouri's state capital. He learned to do it all, from selling ads and taking pictures to writing opinion pieces and laying out pages. While he was on the newspaper staff, his former high school history teacher, Roy Blunt, had gotten into politics and, in 1984, was elected Missouri Secretary of State. Ahrens was offered a position in his administration and moved to Jefferson City. In December 1999, Ahrens started serving as the executive director of the Missouri Propane Gas Association. He leaned on an experienced office manager to show him the ropes. He built a house with propane appliances to experience the fuel as a consumer. He listened to other association executives on best practices. As Ahrens began to learn the players and principles of propane, he found a board that was willing to try new things and look toward the future. During the first year of Ahrens' tenure, the Missouri Propane Gas Association adopted the Certified Employee Training Program. It also enacted its checkoff program a year before National PERC came online. Ahrens has become a strong voice at the national level, where he has participated in PERC advisory committees and a joint task force that made recommendations about renewable propane. And his creative bent leads him to look for new opportunities at every turn. A current project is assessing industry interests in building a training center that includes an autogas service center and 24/7 public refueling, targeting local fleets as potential customers. The common thought, says Ahrens, is that there's nothing new under the sun, that propane has been around for more than a century, and that we've already tried everything. But my goodness, there is so much we can impact if you just had the time, the resources, and the imagination to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Ahrens.
Wow. I'm more of a writer than a speaker, so I'm sorry this is going to be necessary. Thank you, Brian. I can't tell you how humbling, how entirely disorienting this moment is. I'm grateful for the opportunity, I really am. But when Bob Myers called to tell me he was nominating me, I tried to talk him out of it. After all, the Hall of Fame enshrines the titans of the industry, those who have built companies and forged paths, the real-life, actual movers and shakers in propane's storied history. But as he and I talked, it became apparent that there is room here, in addition to the individual and singular successes, to tell stories of collaboration and partnership, the important contributions of those who may not otherwise find the spotlight. In other words, the stories of state associations. So again, thank you, Brian. Thank you, LP Gas Magazine, and thank you, Bob Myers, for this moment. I am so very grateful. There are so many I need to thank. If I get through this first one, we're going to be okay. I'll start with two who are not here. My dad passed away 7 years ago. He would have been 88 on Thursday. He would have gotten a kick out of this group if he was around and here. You would know it. My dad was kind of a character. My mom, Virginia, is back home in Marshfield, Missouri. She wishes she could be here. She's doing well, and I wish she was here too. There are times when you look back on your life and your career and you wonder how all those dots got connected, and then you look back and you realize that there are people who care about you who put those dots out there. So I want to thank my parents and their dots for making a lot of this happen. I'm happy to say my wife Carla is here, and our daughters and their husbands in what month? In November. In November we'll celebrate our 48th wedding anniversary, and Carla. I guess maybe. That's not a sure thing. That is not a sure thing. But none of this happens without you, babe, and I love you and thank you so much for everything. Our daughters are at the table. Libby and her husband Kurt live in Jefferson City. Parents to Cole and Abby. Jennifer and Jay live in Lee's Summit. Our grandsons Caden and Lincoln. Stephanie and Jerry live in Kirksville, Missouri, and our granddaughters Evie and Adeline. And Alyssa Ahrens lives in Kansas City, Missouri. And I'm going to give a shout out to our grand dog, Brenda, who's had a little tough luck, and we hope she's back up on all 4 feet. So thank you all for being here. Ladies, you bought the dresses. Would you just indulge me and just stand up and wave, please, while they applaud for you? Thank you very much. Part of taking the association job meant that there were some sacrifices, and in your schedule as a family, there were things that we couldn't do, had less availability, a busier schedule, and I hope that over the years we were able to fill in some of those gaps. I mean, we took some exciting trips to propane conventions, right? That was fun. Our propane days are even here this week. The girls rented a place in East Nashville. They've got a condo over there, and yesterday we spent the day touring Nashville. We had a great time last night, a lot of hospitality in the evening. We spent a really good time as a family together. And my family understands that I am a prolific procrastinator, and when they realized I had not finished my remarks for tonight, there was lots of support and lots of suggestions and encouragement, and even a challenge to see if their dad, the writer, could work in the word tiddlywinks into tonight's speech. So much love. Now that doesn't really count, does it? I mean, if that counts, I'll cash that check. But thank you, family, for being here. It warms my heart, and I'm so grateful that you were able to make it. I need to thank my amazing peers. Now, Joe Rose couldn't make it tonight. Joe Rose doesn't really count, Brian, as a state executive. He was the all-star, utility infielder of the propane world. He was a state executive, a great career. He was at a retail career that was exceptional. He sells trucks really well, apparently, because he's still doing that, and he can call down divine intervention in his current role. Joe does it all, but I'm proud to stand here on behalf of kind of your garden variety state executive. It is an amazing community of my peers. It's often said that NPGA and PERC and state associations form a three-legged stool that supports the industry. I think that's a useful image, and our national organizations certainly play a lead in everything that happens. But I am compelled to point out, however, that NPGA and PERC, wonderful organizations, have staffing in dozens of people. They have budgets in the tens of millions of dollars. They have missions that are really quite well defined, and they don't overlap. Your average state association has 1.8 employees. Your average association has a budget of less than $700,000 or $800,000. Your average association, with one exception, I think, does all the work of a state association when it comes to governmental affairs and legislative outreach and public policy on the association side. They also, with their foundations and councils, do all the marketing and safety on that side. And they also have scholarship committees, and they have election committees, and they have convention committees, and they reach the marketer at that level. And they also kind of carry the water for our national organizations. So I am proud to be a state association executive. It is a lot of hats you wear during the day, and I'm, again, proud of the men and women who serve in this capacity. State association executives are an important resource not only to the industry, but to each other. We innovate, we commiserate, we trade ideas, we share experiences. I hope you're aware of the critical, important, and cutting-edge work being done by state associations and regional associations around the country today. I look to the East and West Coast, so grateful for Leslie's efforts with P-GAIN and Colin's continuation of Joy's excellent work in the Western, the California area, against the insidious creep of the electrify everything movement. You know, those of us in the middle of the country are able to take advantage of the fact that they are the front lines in this important battle. What they are doing is developing the messaging and strategies that the rest of us will eventually use. I look in amazement at John's work in North Carolina to establish a dedicated industry training school. I call it Hogwarts for propane techs, NC Tech, and the subsequent strengthening of state advocacy with the creation of Southeast Propane Alliance. Really interesting stuff. If you're not listening to the State of Energy podcast that Tom and his colleagues at the Rocky Mountain Association put on, you are missing one of the best audio products in the energy space. State of Energy podcast, a little promo here. We're not a sponsor. They do a great job. Derek's group, I've lost track of how many states Derek and his team run, but they redefine every day successful outreach and exceptional advocacy on behalf of their members. Jackie does a great job in Texas. Are there any Texans here? Bill's floating in the Gulf of Mexico. Bill Van Hoy actually runs Texas. His assistant is Jackie. That was a joke for Bill's effect, but he's not here. I'm going to leave some people out, so I'll stop. But I hope you get the picture. To paraphrase Justice Brandeis, state associations are the laboratories of innovation. I'm grateful for the friendship of so many peers, their inspiration and their encouragement. We did see a record number of execs move on, retired or took other jobs. Sadly, I think we had at least one pass away recently. But I'm eager to see what ideas and energy the new crop brings to the table. If you would just indulge me for a minute and give all state execs a round of applause, that would warm my heart. Thank you. Importantly, I need to recognize the men and women who serve on state association boards, for truly they are the real heroes here. Without effective board leadership, the best state exec can do nothing. It is a volunteer gig, after all, and a thankless job, but with the right group, when everything is clicking, believe me, it can be a powerful, almost magical experience. It's been my privilege to work for so many wonderful, visionary, forgiving board members over the years. A few are here tonight. I'm honored with their presence, but I'll recognize one in particular. Joe Brooks, a dear family friend, asked me in 1998 to apply for the role of executive director, and I turned him down. He asked a year later when the job opened up again, and I'm glad we both took a chance on each other. It has been quite a ride. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. I do have our newest staff member here today, Luke Fitzpatrick, who I think you all should get to know, as well as representatives from my Arkansas. I take ownership of these boards. If I say my, I mean my boards. They are wonderful people. I have representatives from my Arkansas and Missouri boards, and since my annual review is approaching, I'd be remiss if I didn't give them a chance to stand and just wave for recognition. Thank you guys for being here. Wherever you are, I'm going to make you stand up, just wave, do something. Arkansas, Missouri board members, they are not usually that shy. And as my final thank you, I'll wrap this up. My final thank you tonight is for you, for all of you here tonight. We often talk about the propane industry, but the truth is we are a propane Take a breath, I know. I'm not going to tap out yet, Mark, but I'm close. We're a propane community, a propane family. We care for each other. We look out for each other. We stick up for each other. We pay it forward unconsciously and without agenda. I remember my first MPJ board meeting. It was at the ritziest, you remember this, dear? The ritziest, glitziest place we'd ever seen in our lives. It was this resort in Boca. I walked in to the reception that night. Now, Joe Brooks had told me, I said, what do you wear to these things? He said, I just wear whatever you want to wear. So I walked in my blue jeans and my golf shirt to a group that was attired kind of like this one tonight. Didn't know a person, and suddenly, just like in the movies, the crowd parted, and this energetic, white-haired gentleman made a beeline for me. He stuck out his hand. He said, you must be the new Missouri guy. Let me show you around. He shook my hand, and with that, Sam McTeer welcomed me into the family. Later that year, same thing happened in the Southwestern. I think it was the Southwestern Convention. There was a Southwestern event once upon a time. I think it was in Arlington, Texas. NPJ field rep Kay Stahl unhesitatingly took me under her wing and showed me the ropes. Because that's what propane people do. That's what you do. Thank you, all of you, for being exceptional, caring, spectacular people. Thank you very much. Give yourselves a round of applause. I will close with this, a challenge for you and your state associations. 3 words: do not settle. Do not settle for the comfortable, the easy, the usual, the safe. What we've always done is not what we need to be doing now. State associations are not civic clubs. They're not resume fillers. They represent our best opportunity to demonstrate to our current and future customers that the solutions they seek, versatility, efficiency, economy, environmental benefits, that's all been here all along. Our benefits are based on science and not spin, and that we will be here long after all that expensive, buzzy technology fails to deliver. The moment is too big, the stakes are too high, and the potential rewards, well, they're not tiddlywinks. That was cheap, wasn't it? Thank you all very much. I'm so grateful for this moment. Thank you very much.